So you're thinking about real estate, huh? Seems like everyone's talking about it these days.
Yeah, it's definitely having a moment. And for good reason, right? There's a lot of potential there, but
But it can feel pretty overwhelming, even if you're just dipping your toes in. Like, where do you even start?
exactly. And that's what we're diving into today using, we've got some great source material to kind of guide us as we break down real estate as an investment. Like, what does that actually mean?
Yeah, let's get practical. What's the deal with real estate?
Okay, so one of the things that makes real estate so interesting as an investment is that it really shakes things up compared to, the traditional investment portfolio.
Right, because it's not just about stocks and bonds anymore.
Right. We're talking about owning a tangible asset, like an actual physical property.
And that diversification is something our source really emphasizes as a major plus. But let's be real, for a lot of people, it's the passive income potential that's really alluring.
Oh, absolutely. Who doesn't love the idea of money working for you, right?
Yeah. Instead of like clocking in every day, you could have rent checks coming in, covering your expenses, maybe even giving you some extra spending money each month. It's a nice thought.
It is a very nice thought.
Yeah.
And, while it's not always as simple as like buy property, collect rent, retire early,
Right. There's definitely more to it.
there is. But that potential for passive income, it's a huge motivator for a lot of investors, especially those who are thinking long term.
Totally. But okay, let's say you're interested. Where do you even begin? It can feel like a huge first step.
You're telling me. But that's what's great about our source. It really lays out a clear path.
Okay, so let's break it down step by step. And step one, according to our trusty source, is research, like really knowing your local market.
Big time. You've got to be familiar with rental rates at different areas, which neighborhoods have high demand, because of course that impacts how much you can charge for rent. Even just stuff like, are there amenities nearby? It's about being strategic from the get-go.
So not all properties are created equal, even in the same city. You really have to understand what renters in your specific area are looking for.
Exactly. And speaking of being strategic, let's talk about saving for that down payment.
Ah, yes, the down payment. Our source does not sugarcoat that part.
Nope. You're probably going to need a decent chunk of change to get started.
So saving is key. But most people don't buy a rental property outright. That's where financing comes in, right?
100%. Mortgages are the name of the game. And even within that, there are so many options. Are you going with a fixed rate mortgage where your monthly payments stay the same? Or maybe an adjustable rate where the interest rate can fluctuate? These are all things you'd want to, discuss with a mortgage broker.
It's a whole other deep dive just on mortgages.
Right. But let's say you've done your research, you've got the financing figured out.
Yeah.
Now comes the fun part, finding the actual property.
This is where things get exciting, but also potentially overwhelming. Like, what should you even be looking for in a rental property?
That's such a good question. First and foremost, remember what you learned about your market. Who are you targeting? Are you targeting young professionals, families, students? The type of property you choose should make sense for your target renter.
That's all about who you want living there, yeah.
Totally. And then, of course, think about the condition. A fixer-upper might seem tempting, but you got to factor in those renovation costs.
Oh, yeah, that can add up so quickly.
Really can. And of course, location, location, location. You know that old saying.
It's true.
It never gets old. But are there like red flags to watch out for? What should send alarm bells ringing?
Good question. I would say anything that screams major repairs down the line. Like if you're looking at a place and the foundation is wonky or the plumbing and electrical are, super outdated, those things can eat into your profits faster than you can say, surprise expense. And speaking of surprises.
Uh-oh. What about surprises?
Inspections. Don't even get me started on inspections.
Okay, inspections. Can't we just skip that part? I know it's tempting, believe me. But trust me on this one. Inspections are not the place to cut corners. You need a qualified inspector to assess the property and flag any potential problems before they become your problems.
So, you found a place, it passed inspection, you're officially landlord, congratulations. Now what?
Now the real fun begins.
Now you've got to think about the day-to-day, like actually managing your rental property.
Exactly. And you've got options here. Are you someone who likes to be very hands-on?
So that means like you're happy to field calls from tenants, maybe even learn how to do some basic repairs yourself?
Exactly. Or would you prefer a more hands-off approach? Like you hire a property manager to handle the day-to-day stuff.
So there are definitely pros and cons to each, right?
Absolutely. Hiring a property manager costs money, obviously. but it can really free up your time. And honestly, it can be a lifesaver if you're not particularly handy or if you don't live near your property. It's all about finding what works for you, your personality, your lifestyle.
It's a lot to think about, and I think that highlights something our source really emphasizes. Investing in real estate is a journey. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
100%.
Yeah.
This source really drives home the idea that each property is a learning experience, like a stepping stone towards your bigger goals.
And that knowledge is really your most valuable asset, right? Do your homework, understand the market, and be prepared for the unexpected.
Absolutely. Now, here's something our source didn't really touch on, but I think it's worth pondering. How would you handle the sort of human side of being a landlord? Because you will have to deal with people, right?
Right. You might have to deal with tenant issues, late rent payments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are you prepared for those conversations?
It's not just about crunching numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about people. And that's something really important for potential investors to consider.